Hi, it's Cecilia again from Pardon Farms, here for our week 6 garden tour. We're running a little late. It has been a crazy week and the garden has been very neglected. So we're gonna do a walkthrough. There is a lot of weeds and they are tall, but hopefully there's some other stuff for me to show you. So we're playing with a new selfie stick today, so we'll see how that works for the video and video quality, see if that makes it any better. So this is our lemon cucumber plant, which has gotten huge. On Friday I came out and there was a little teeny tiny cucumber that I thought, oh, I'll let it grow a little bit. This is what happened in 2 days. So next time I think I'll just err on the side of caution and harvest them when they're a little bit smaller. But we have a big cucumber to bring up to the house with us today. So I've never had a lemon cucumber, so I'll let you know how we like it and if it's good or not. So the broccoli, if you guys can see, looks okay. I don't know if anybody knows, I have some really yellow leaves that are like dying off and I'm not sure why. And I don't know if I should pull them or let it go and just see what happens. I do have like 3 plants is all that are starting to get these little broccoli heads. So that's kind of exciting. Maybe we'll have a little bit of broccoli to try from our garden. Honestly, the broccoli's been kind of a flop. I'm not sure. Next year I might just plant that row into beans or something that we're better at growing, because we epically failed at it this year. So here we have our rhubarb. It looks okay. It's really not getting as big as I had hoped, but it is the first year for it. And we have had 1 harvest out of it. I'm just used to like having tons and tons and tons of rhubarb. Like you can't keep up with it. And that is definitely not a problem for me this year. The carrots, while sparse, I think look good. So I'm pretty excited. Hopefully we'll have a few carrots to sample from the garden. The tomato plants, we have a ton of green tomatoes, which I'm hoping means that we will have a ton of red tomatoes soon. Really, the Romas are starting to turn. This plant in particular has been very prolific. We have harvested, I'm actually going to pull this one and this one. We have harvested probably 7 or 8 Romas off of this plant, and you can see that it is still, like, look at all of the, and it's down on the ground because I didn't trellis it up as good as I had thought, but it's really doing well. So we're just gonna let it keep doing what it's doing and let it do its thing. I don't have any of my purple Cherokee aren't ready yet. My ox heart tomatoes, I'm starting to get, look at that big boy. And then there's one down here, if you can see that. So I'm hoping that we'll get some. The pepper plants, so I have these beautiful tall pepper plants. And Gay, one of the ladies that's a local gardener, told me to put some coffee grounds on them because I have these beautiful plants, but I have no peppers on most of my plants. So I'm hoping that we did do that, that will work. But you can see this is a habanero plant, and we have some peppers here that are starting, whoops, that one fell off. So I guess we'll bring that in and see what we can do with it. But so we're getting some peppers from the habanero plant, but really all my other pepper plants have been kind of a flop. The onions, I'm not sure when to harvest them. So a lot of them have tipped over and fallen down. I don't know if now is the time to harvest or if I should wait a little bit. Our zucchini plants and squash plants have done really extremely well. We've had a lot of rain and a lot of hot heat. And that's really been helpful for more of the warmer weather crops. If you can see, amidst all the weeds, the sweet potatoes look pretty good, but if you get in here, you can see that some of my leaves look a little bit like Swiss cheese here. And when we go over to the potato plants, you're gonna see a lot more of that. We're really having a hard time with potato bugs and trying to stay organic and not use conventional sprays, trying to eliminate them by hand picking them off. So although the garden itself is very weedy, it's not that we haven't been out here, it's that what do I want to do more? Do I want to keep the weeds from coming up, or do I want to get the potato bugs off my plants so that we actually are able to harvest some tomatoes? The pumpkins plants look good. We're starting to get some little buds on them. I haven't seen any open flowers yet, but I am hoping. This is our Amory, Wisconsin squash. Still lots of flowers. Don't see any squash. Not sure what's happening. I don't know if you remember last week I showed you how prolific this cherry tomato plant has been and all the little green tomatoes. We're starting to get a couple red tomatoes off of this plant, which is good because the other cherry tomato plant that we've been pulling one or two off of every day is sort of petering. So it was really good timing, actually. My cantaloupe plant, although it had a flower, I do not see any cantaloupe growing, which is sort of disappointing, but hey, E for effort, we're trying anyway. The bean plants. I think I said this on the last video, I would plant these beans differently next year. I love them, they're delicious, the kids love them. We just aren't getting enough for every day or to like have meals. So I would plant way more of these, I think, than I did this year. And I know a lot of people actually in the area are struggling with their green beans this year, so it's not just me, but I'm definitely not a master gardener, so part of it is me. And the same with the dragon tongue beans. The plants are huge and look really good, and we have a lot of flowers, but we have just a handful of beans to show, and they're beautiful and they taste good. Honestly, most of them get eaten before even making it to the house, but they are good, they're delicious. We did at one meal today, or this week, cook up a hodgepodge of different beans and peas. So we did have one meal from our bean plants, but I am very proud of this trellis. We have a lot of squash growing up it, and you can see some little squashes and some not so little. So that one's, let me move that leaf out of the way so you can actually see. That one looks pretty good. If anyone has any advice, I actually have no idea when to harvest those squash either. But the trellis looks kind of neat from the road, and it's nice to see them coming up, so that's been nice. We did replant and sow radishes and beets, and they're about a 10 to 14 day germination. Once again, the beets. I don't see anything coming up. There's weeds, and I'll show you those. But I don't really see, maybe these here are beets coming up. But don't really see much for those. But if I show you the radishes, you can see a lot more coming up. So obviously I am a better radish grower than I am a beet grower, which that's okay. Our spaghetti squash, I think, is really starting to look good. Starting to see a handful of squash forming on them. I planted too much zucchini, which I think that's like a gardening joke, right? You teach a man to fish and you feed him. You teach a woman to garden, and everybody in the neighborhood eats zucchini. One thing that I do want to show you that's kind of cool, I don't know if you can see this, but it's fused together. It's two zucchini plants that are fused, or zucchinis that are kind of fused together. I've never seen that before, and I am not a master gardener. I think I've said that multiple times. But so I'm just gonna let it go and see what happens, because I think it's kind of neat. So the potatoes. I strongly dislike potato bugs because you go from having a beautiful potato plant to having a stem. And they eat all of the leaves, and they're just jerks. And you pick them and you pick them and you pick them, but even if you pick all of them, they come back because they're in the ground. And we're struggling with, seriously struggling with the potato plants right now. Highlight, the beans are starting to grow all the way up and have extended past the trellis, which is pretty exciting. Still no bean plants, or no beans from these bean plants, but hopefully at some point we will have enough beans to have some to can, because I hate to tell you, but purple TP beans and dragon tongue beans, we do not have enough to can. So I'm hoping that soon there will be. Our cucumber plants are really growing through my trellis, and I'm having a hard time training them up. So I'm gonna keep working on it, but they look good, I think. This one I think is really pretty. I love these little yellow flowers. So I'm hoping that at some point we'll have some more cucumbers to show for our efforts. If you guys need any zucchini, please let me know, because definitely planted enough zucchini. And I just kind of want to end and show you my little cabbage plants that Seth said the other day. I don't care how much cabbage you grow, we cannot have enough sauerkraut for the year, which is true. But also, I have cute little cabbage plants and cute little cabbages, but they're teeny tiny. I'm excited that I have cabbages, but they're definitely not enough for my Polish husband to eat sauerkraut throughout the year. So we will be buying some local cabbage and making some more sauerkraut and canning it. So that's it for the garden tour this week. I'm sorry that it's late, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Don't forget to like our page or follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks, bye.